Thank you all for being here on time. As usual, the webinar will be recorded and you will also have access to the presentation so you can later on check it out. But it's good to be here right now because it's fresh, new things coming your way. Okay, so now let's get this started. And as this is going to be a marketing your startup with zero budget. Well, of course, zero budget is not precisely, because obviously, even if you are just basing your, even if you just base your marketing on your time, your resources, and your creativity, it is not actually zero budget, because your time and your energy, your mental energy, does cost a lot. But it's still better than trying to pay a lot of money for marketing that does not work. So let me start by telling you a story, okay? This story is a story of one American company that was funded in 1975. And that is actually the day, well, the year that I was born, so we have something in common. Both BlankTech and I are quite old, but we are still going strong, because BlankTech is one of the leading companies in blenders. But BlankTech did have a moment that they did not know how to market their products. And worse, they also did not have a lot of marketing budget. They didn't have a lot of marketing money. So Tom Dixon, who is the founder and the designer behind the BlankTech blenders, hired a marketing guy. And this marketing guy received a very difficult task of making things better with a very, very limited budget. He started by doing a bit of a research about what is the BlankTech X factor, and Tom Dickinson always said that this blender is as tough as their ambition. So for them, the core message was that it's the strongest blender available, the strongest one that will match every conditions of the blended material. This marketing guy also went to the factory, and in the factory he noticed that in the corners of the buildings he could see piles of different materials being in a kind of a powdery substance way. And he asked Tom Dickinson, what is it? And he said, Tom Dickinson said, so the thing is that every time I finish a new series in the production line of BlankTech blenders, I like to test if they match the promise and if they are really that strong. So I just blend marbles, golf balls, sometimes even bricks and stuff like that. And this marketing guy had an idea. Why don't I just put a white coat, like a white doctor's coat, over Tom Dickinson and record a video where he does this crazy blending thing. And the video costed close to nothing, and the idea was very risky, but at the same time it didn't really risk much of the reputation or much of the cost. It also showcased the most important customer value of the product. And that is very important, because this way they created a series of highly viral movies, videos, YouTube videos called Will It Blend? And you're about to see one of those. And this is actually This is actually
Will it
the guy himself.
That is the question. It seems like I've been waiting forever for my Apple Watch. While I was waiting, I made my own iWatch, but it was way too clunky. Thankfully, the real Apple Watch is finally here, and boy, is she a beauty.
Thank you, Tom. That is nice of you to say.
Siri, it's so good to see you again.
You too. It has been a while.
So Siri, I've blended just about everything that Apple makes.
Yes, it has been both inspiring and disturbing.
But there's one thing that I haven't blended yet.
I know. Don't say it.
The Apple Watch.
But the Apple Watch is a work of art. It should be on your wrist, not in a blend tech.
Siri, I'm afraid there's no other way to answer the question, will it blend?
Ouch. Then this is goodbye. Farewell, Tom.
Move over, Dick Tracy. I think I'm going to press the force touch button.
Wow. Oof. Ah. Wow. Ouch. Oof. Ah.
Definitely John Schreiber is at home.
Oh, Siri smoke.
Siri
Breathe
smoke.
this. So what's up next? I hear Apple is building their own car. I can deal with that.
Okay, so the thing is that with this video, the blend tech clearly identified their X factor. And their X factor for this was strong as hell. Then they decided to prove it. So the hero of their story is still their product, the unique factor that is the strength. Other blenders, boring, blending fruit, crushing ice. This blender, blending something that is unexpected. And remember that when something is really unexpected and shocking, it will make the audience do something that is called, that they will pass this to the others. So your campaign, your content, your email, your article becomes viral if it has a certain algorithm to it. And this algorithm can be expressed by simple, unexpected, credible, and this credibility here was gained by the very owner of the company, Tom Dickinson. It has to be concrete, okay? So it has to have concrete elements. It also has to be emotional. And here, emotions are sometimes about something about this being unexpected, really, but also about being funny in a way. And also, those people who hate Apple products will pass this video because they are so amazed by the fact that someone actually crushed their enemy. But at the same time, the people who love Apple products will be passing this on as, as something that is emotionally almost disturbing. So this is a very good combination. And also it has a very simple sequence. And also remember, it was not that expensive, but it also highlighted the X factor. In the task that I sent you previously beforehand, that you should have received from the organizers of this webinar, you were asked to find your X factor. So think about it. What is it that you want to prove? And then think about how you want to prove it to your audiences, okay? It can be an experiment. it can be using props, it can be using anything. But remember, it has to be emotionally charged, even for business to business, okay? What's your X factor? For Volvo, it has been safe for years, okay? So everything that they do, the campaigns, everything is about safety. They want to be affiliated with the keyword of safe. So what is it for you? I don't know, but I do hope that you know it and that you will find inspiration in this webinar to create content that becomes viral, but also contains this key X factor. It's no use creating something that is extremely viral, but doesn't connect you to your audience, to your X factor, okay? This Blend Tech campaign is great because the hero is the blender, okay? And the owner of the company also, okay? And what you have to really remember when you do your marketing efforts is, remember, people do not buy products and services. People buy a better version of themselves with the products and services. So people don't just buy an iPhone, they buy a vision of themselves with an iPhone doing stuff that others can't do. People do not buy moleskin. People buy the whole vision of them using the same notepad that Ernest Hemingway once did. People don't buy just Endomondo. They buy the vision of them being better at sports using Endomondo. So think about it. What is the vision that you want to sell to your final customer? Be it business to business or be business to client. In the end, it's all about human to human, actually. So remember, people don't just buy products or services. They buy what the products and the services do with them. How does it make them look? What does it do for them? Okay? So this is very important. But also it's very important that people are very easy to predict when it comes to certain behaviors. And people will watch the video and will share content if something's happened to them. And right now, we're about to see something that happens to you. I want you now to close your eyes, okay? Don't worry, it's not gonna happen anything bad. And I want you to listen carefully to something that is about to happen.
Yuri, 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 Yuri.
Okay, enough of that. Who heard Yanni? Okay, please don't hesitate. If you've heard Yanni, everything is okay with you. But maybe someone heard something else. Maybe some of you guys heard Laurel. Okay, anyone? Anyone? Well, this is actually one of the most viral cases in the net in the past month. Okay, it has started some time ago, but then it peaked totally. Okay, and it peaked for one reason, because it was either Yanni or Laurel. Even though people were hearing, were experiencing the same sound, they actually heard different things. And that made them extremely emotionally charged. Okay, so this is a content that gets people talking. And this is what you're supposed to do with your marketing campaigns. You have to make people talk about what's happening. You have to become a media company, get people talking about your product, just like they did here, okay? So some people said, just Laurel, I don't get it. And some people said, are you serious? It's Yanni for me, okay? How does it sound for you? It's like, this is the beauty of it. Okay, I don't know if you've heard Yanni or Laurel, but this is actually a very interesting case because something plays with our mind, but we don't know what is it. But we know that we hear something and someone else hears something else, and we say, "Are you serious?" So this is something that even people like Ellen DeGeneres noticed. And this is a very interesting thing. Once someone so important, a taste maker, picks up something like this, then you're sure your content goes viral. It usually happens by accident, and that's very good because it's so much better than finding the influencers. It's so much better to create contagious viral content that gets picked by the influencers or the tastemakers like Ellen DeGeneres themselves, okay? So she basically stated that literally everything at her show stopped to see if people hear Laurel or Yanni. She hears Laurel. So if you hear Laurel, maybe you're just like, maybe you're just like Ellen DeGeneres, okay? Another person said, "It's so clearly Laurel. I can't even figure out how would anyone hear anything else." And other people were commenting. It actually, for a couple of days, became the top news on social media. People were aggravated. They were emotionally aroused, okay? They heard Laurel and everyone is a liar, okay? And now, someone said that this is making them upset because they want Yanni back, okay? It was clearly Yanni. It was completely, differently in their head, okay? So trust me, it happened to me once, okay? Today, actually, I've heard Yanni, but when I was doing this during the presentation in a large-scale cinema, I've heard Laurel, but then before when I was preparing this, I've heard Yanni. So it clearly is something with the frequencies or whatever, but it's kind of funny because you can have a person sitting next to you and they will hear something else. So you can find this file on the net and test it with your friends and see what happens. And then you will see one important thing that you need to notice when you prepare any kind of content and test content. Will it get them talking about the content, okay? Will it get them talking about something, okay? So this is actually funny because some people were tweeting and using humor about it. It also clearly turned into memes, and that was a good thing that it turned into memes, but also it kind of reminded of every other viral situation where people were seeing or experiences different things and couldn't get their head around it. Just like this. You remember, okay? This dress, this famous dress, was basically the same one. Also, the brands picked it up. And this is a technique that is in marketing. It's called meme jacking. So, okay, every time you hijack a meme, okay, like this, you get extra points from your audiences because you definitely proved to be very wise, okay? So this one, good one, Starbucks, this Laurel girl definitely went to the Starbucks and she definitely got a coffee that is actually marked as Yanni, okay? So maybe that's a good joke, okay? So this, I actually showcase you this case study because it contains a lot of very interesting elements. Getting people talk about content is getting them react to the content emotionally on a level. They have to care about it. It has to be something that they can relate to because either it helps them be funny or it's newsworthy or it's helpful, okay? This is something that is called in marketing and in social media, it's called the pass on value, meaning how easy or how encouraged your audiences are to actually pass your value on, okay? So this is the social transmission, and if you find something that is either funny or newsworthy or useful, then you get something that is called pass along value. Think about it. And also research other things that you pass along, and you will see that there is a key to it, okay? Anything that makes you laugh, you pass along that value to others because you want others to laugh. Everything that you find useful is passed along to others because they find it useful. And here's something for all of you who are doing something in the business to business. It is not true that people only forward short articles and short emails. Actually, when it comes to this research, New York Times has discovered that in business to business oriented, useful information, the articles that were longer were actually passed along more frequently. What you need is obviously a great piece of content that you do in your marketing in your startup based on your core values and on your X factor, but it would help also now and then to get to have some tastemakers, okay? Tastemakers are not the mainstream. They are the trendsetters. They are the ones who will be using your product or services as first. There may be your beta testers. They may be famous or not. They may be just influential in their group of friends that are your target audience. But whatever you do, you have to identify your tastemakers. Because with tastemakers, you actually can even make people talk about toilet paper. Trust me. But the toilet paper has to be black, okay? Here's a funny story, okay? Some time ago, Jonah Berger, who also wrote a book called Contagious, and I definitely encourage you to check out this book because it's really good if you want to do good marketing based on word of mouth marketing, based on social interactions, based on social contagion, based on pass along value. You need that book. And this is important because at the same time, word of mouth marketing and social sharing and social contagion marketing are the cheapest form that you can get if only you nail down those factors that I talked about, being you identify great tastemakers and you create a content that is emotionally charged. But also remember, emotionally charged means that it has to be either awesome, funny, extremely useful, and or sometimes can make you also make people angry. There are parts of emotions that are most likely to be shared, and this is the emotion of anger, okay, and amazement, and also anxiety. But you have to find out what gets shared for you most, because you have to do your research, your study. You have to do it yourself. Okay. So, by the way, the author of the book Contagious that I just mentioned to you once got the whole party at his housewarming party talking about toilet paper. Why? Because he actually placed black toilet paper in his bathroom. Okay, so people were so shocked by something so unexpected that they started talking about it. Okay, how cool is that? I mean, you get the whole room full of those fancy people talking about the toilet paper just because it's black. Okay, because black paper is like purple cow that I have mentioned to you before during the webinars. Okay, it's the purple cow is something that is unexpected, something that we don't expect, okay? So if you are like any other company, then you will lose a lot of money proving to your customers that your average product is better than someone else's average product. You have to identify your purple cow, your X factor, or your black paper, toilet paper, okay? And you have to remember that you might use tastemakers on the way, okay? So those tastemakers make things happen. We're gonna watch one more extremely viral video, and this viral video is extremely funny. It kind of has this contagious laughter and amazement to it that people just want to share. They just kind of wait to share.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Woo! Oh my, wow! Woo! Yeah! Oh.
Okay. That's too much even for me, okay? So this guy is an American MMA fighter. He is a sports guy, and he apparently went to Yosemite Park and woke up one day and saw a double rainbow. He clearly took a nice video of it, not very professional because it doesn't have to be professional, but he expressed true emotions in his amazement. Okay, that could be summed up as the ode to amazement, I would say. So he also uploaded this video. Okay, and here you have it. Its video upload is here. Okay, of the double rainbow daily views. Okay, so as you can see, nothing happens for a very long time. Okay, nothing happens. It doesn't become viral, and all of a sudden something happens. And what happens here, where you have this instant spike, okay, there's this millions of views all of a sudden. What happens here? Well, Jimmy Kimmel tweets about it, okay? He said, my friend Todd has declared this funniest video in the world. He might be very well right, okay? So this happened. Someone showed this video to Jimmy Kimmel, and Jimmy Kimmel tweeted about it. And because Jimmy Kimmel is a good tastemaker, then definitely it kind of got things going, and it got things going very well. Okay, so number one factor is establishing what you want to build your brand around. What are the key elements? What makes you unexpected? And then keep on researching the content that get people talk about your content, okay, and your product. Obviously, people talk about products, okay? We usually think that they don't, but they do. You talk about products. Every time something either gives you high satisfaction or low satisfaction, you talk about it. For the in-between, there is nothing. So the key factor is to actually think about what will be a high satisfaction for my customers, and how will I get them talk about it. Sometimes you don't even have to, okay? As long as you're really unexpected with either your customer service or with either your approach to sales, or how you really take care of your customers, how you pamper them. And it really doesn't have to be about the money, although sometimes that extra money spent on the great customer service or a great post sales is really very important, and it's part of the marketing. Okay, so because people usually have expectations about things. Okay, so for example, if they expect from budget airlines to be really tacky, no leg room, no snacks, no nothing, you have to pay for everything, and you have to walk to the aircraft and everything else. Okay, so this is what are the expectations of people. But sometimes something unexpected happens. Okay, and in America there are budget lines that kind of surprise you with extremely good service, nice leg room, okay, enough leg room, and free snacks. What happens? People talk about it because they didn't expect it, okay? So, people don't give people just what they expect. Try harder and they will talk about it. But also create content that helps people participate in your content, that helps them remix what you do, okay? And this is another factor. So you have to like X factor, tastemakers, and participation. Participation is going to be explained to you by one very, very serious video, okay? Just browse yourself, because this is the seriousest video you're about to watch today, okay? This is it. Oh, sorry. Sorry, my mistake. I'm operating on 2 laptops, by the way, because I have to have this thing again. Okay, that was Nyan Cat. I'm not gonna kind of torture you with this, but there is a 4-hour video of that looped that has hit almost 40 million views so far. So there are people who are willing to watch that because it's funny, because it's stupid funny, okay? And people want that sometimes, okay? I'm not suggesting that in the business to business you have to do that, but sometimes you can try humor in your thing. But most of all, most importantly, it kind of enhanced people's creativity because they could participate in that by creating something else like those kind of videos, okay, of cats watching the Nyan Cat, okay, or they could create the videos of cats watching Nyan Cat, okay. So that's even better because it's like almost Inception. So this is the thing that you might want to take a note, okay. Participation means that your audience can do something with your content. They can do something that also helps them to identify with the content, just like this does, okay? You can see here all the national versions. There's a Polish one, there's the Russian one, there is the Belgian one. Anyone here from Belgium? Okay. There is the Australian one. There is the Slovenian one. Okay. You get this. Okay. There are versions, and people can identify with those versions. Again, I'm not going to torture you with that. This is really crazy. Okay. Participation means that people can participate in creating the value of your content. And once again, you might be a little bit suspicious and you might think, okay, but this is, fun viral videos over YouTube or Facebook. How does it integrate with my strategy? Well, it does integrate very well with the strategy because you can, for example, do something that is called in the name of research marketing. When people, beta testers, will be participating in creating the value, and then you will document it, then you will do fun videos of that. You can do that. It doesn't mean if you're doing a serious software or a serious solution, it doesn't mean that you have to be that serious all the time. Your communication can be fun. Remember, humor is top factor for the pass along value, okay? Now, another thing is, of course, unexpected. Okay? When we don't expect things, we are really attracted to that because we didn't expect that to be so good. Or, unfortunately, when we encounter something that we didn't expect to be that bad, we also will share it. But I don't wish you that, because if someone is extremely disappointed with your services because they expected to be served well, and then they experience something quite the opposite, then they will not be happy and they will write about it. Okay, so it's high satisfaction and low satisfaction. Those are the two factors that make people share opinions about your company. Okay, but unexpected is also important. Okay, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the guy called Casey Neistat, but he's a fun guy. Okay, and Casey Neistat was once fined with a NYPD ticket for not riding the bike on the bike lane. Okay, they charged him, I think, with $500 fee for actually not riding the bike on the bike lane, but riding it on the sidewalk. So he got kind of angry, and then he decided to make a video about how it's important to really regulate that. So when I first heard that, I thought, well, that seems kind of boring, because a guy is going to talk about how important is it to regulate the bike lanes in New York. How fascinating is that? But actually, he did it very, very well. What he did, he recorded this video. And as you can see, he's just riding a bike, okay? So this is just riding a bike.
You get a ticket for not riding in the bike lane, but often there are obstructions that keep you from properly riding in the bike lane.
Okay, this was the power of good unexpected. Okay, you didn't expect him, unless you've seen this before, but you probably didn't expect that to happen. Okay, so that was Casey Neistat doing something unexpected. Okay, so unexpected is also the success behind the Will It Blend, but it's also behind this video. So if you want to make a amazing video that showcases your company and your product, you may want to have something that is unexpected. If you present your company, your product in an expected way, then it's not going to be interesting. It's going to be boring. And boring is not useful when it comes to marketing without the budget, okay? Now I'm going to talk about the power of good quiz. Every now and then we do the quizzes, okay? On Facebook, yes, sometimes. You can also suggest and create some quizzes for your business-to-business or business-to-client audiences, okay? The power of the good quiz is something that BuzzFeed, for example, once did, okay? They did this quiz when you had to pick your footwear and your clothes, and they would actually establish what is your age, okay? I took that quiz, even though it's for women mostly, those quiz, and what happened? I got 18 years old and 5'7", okay? So that was a shocking not truth, but it didn't matter because it allowed me and others, millions of women actually, to do something that is called the humble brag, okay? The humble brag is when you attribute your audiences with the elements of your content or your brand that helps them to express themselves and show them how intelligent they are, how they look good, how they remind famous actors, or is their key, are they, what part of the Game of Thrones they are, anything that helps them to perform this very beautiful ritual of humble brag. Humble brag is when you are allowed to brag about yourself, but it's humble because it's actually someone else, in this case your brand, attributes them with the knowledge of themselves, okay? There's a famous thing in Poland where every now and then this thing pops out. It kind of is not going to do anything for you, but I'm going to explain what is it actually. This meme, this little picture that is that gets transferred all over the social media in Poland every now and then, says that only 10% of the population can read this text, okay? And then obviously everyone can read this text who reads in Polish, because this text is very easy to read if you know Polish. It kind of has inverse letters and inverse numbers, but it's not that difficult. I'm sure that you have a similar version for your nationality. But every now and then, people post this after they read it, because then they share it, as you can see, quite immensely. Why? Because they feel like they belong to the 10% of the society, okay? So they feel like this is something to brag about, okay? Okay, so remember, your audiences don't want to hear about you. They want to hear about themselves. They want to know how this content, how this product helps them to be funnier, more intelligent, better looking, more efficient, and if they can brag about it. Because in a normal daily conversation, we spend from 30 to 40% of our time talking about ourselves. And it is 80% on the social media and on the internet. So the biggest problem is that when most brands or most companies want to do marketing, they want to talk about themselves, but they shouldn't. They should allow their users talk about themselves, just like GoPro does. I don't know. I'm sure you're familiar with the GoPro cameras. The GoPro does not talk about themselves. They let others tell their stories using their product. So you better get those testimonials ready. And if you see people using your product, you use it on social media. Don't do average content that presents you. Do great content using the user-generated content. By the way, have you ever checked Starbucks Instagram? Okay, if you ever did, you should. Okay, because Instagram of Starbucks contains mainly the pictures of their customers who did drink Starbucks coffee. Okay, so why is it awesome? Well, because the Starbucks uses mainly user-generated content to showcase their product. Okay, there are every day millions of people. By the way, more than 32 millions of posts hashtagged Starbucks. Okay, millions hashtagged Starbucks. And they are not angry people. No, they are people who want to show that they are drinking Starbucks. 80% of communication is done talking about themselves. Your brand has to give people something to talk about, but also has to provide attributes that they can show themselves with. And it's also because we are kind of narcissistic and altruistic at the same time. Okay? Altruism and narcissism, two of the biggest implications and motivations of people online and offline. People generally will talk about certain product or idea because they want to look good, but at the same time, they want to help others. So if you want to have marketing on a tight budget, you have to take those two motivations into account. And you also have to take into the account one of a very beautiful thing that is called in the name of research marketing. What is in the name of research marketing? Well, you have your product. Your product has a certain identity or a certain X factor. You want to prove that X factor, and you want to prove it using some sort of a social experiment or social research. You do that research and you do it in one occasion. It's like a one trick pony. It's like one time experiment. You document it well, and then you share it with your audience. The beauty of it was that once DAF created a series of in the name of research videos, they went totally viral. Why? Because they were authentic, because they were showing interesting social experiments. Look for the DAF campaigns and see what I mean. But today, don't look for DAF, but look at this. This is actually a in the name of research campaign done by a Argentinian chewing gum company, okay? You will see it and you will see what do I mean by that, okay?
seems like he has more friends. Which one has more imaginary friends? Which one gets invited to more parties? Which one gets invited to more bridge tournaments? Which one is the bad cop? Which of these bosses would give you a raise? Which one would fire you when you ask for a raise? Which one has a better sex life? Which one never puts money into the employee gift pool? Which one really enjoys giving you a ticket? Thank you.
Okay, so as you can see, they had a point to prove. And this point was that chewing a gum makes you look good. So again, they used research and experiment to do that. And of course, this is slightly more expensive than just blending an Apple Watch, but it's still a lot less expensive because then it becomes viral, because people want to share this, because it's actually funny. This was not, of course, the most shared video, but if you take a look and look at the Dove campaign called Dove Beauty Sketches, you will see one of the most viral in the name of research marketing campaigns. So remember, it's all about how well is your customer integrated into your strategy. Do you really care about them, and do you want to use their insights and their knowledge? Remember, you have to find your purple cow, what makes you extremely unique, okay? If you cannot nail down this one factor, this one X factor, you have to nail it again, okay? You have to find it, because otherwise you will not do a good marketing, okay? You will pump a lot of money into your marketing, but it will not be a good marketing and promotion, okay? You constantly have to think about your customer, and you have to think about it in a way, how does my product help them become a better person? What is it that I want to show them? What vision of themselves do I want to sell them? And integrate them into your strategy. You have to find your test makers and don't go after the mainstream, okay? Why? Because mainstream is taken by companies like Unilever or Procter & Gamble. You don't have that kind of money, okay? So you don't want to compete there. You want to compete for the hearts of the tastemakers. You want to compete for the hearts of the early adopters. You want to compete for those who will find your product unique first, and then they will spread the message, okay? And use the psychology wisely, okay? Look into the things people share. I have showed you certain elements of what content gets shared. Think about it, analyze it, and think about how can I really do it better. Look online, take a look into the things that you share and find out what is it about my emotions, why do I share it? And then you will get this magic insights into the brain of the others who share it also, okay? They might be of different demographics, they might be of different gender, but still remember, people mostly share the content and the marketing content that either makes them look good or makes them look helpful or makes them look intelligent or helps them to make other people laugh, okay? So remember, your content also has to be simple, unexpected, credible, meaning that you have to be credible. You have to live up to it, okay, to this promise. You cannot fake the marketing value. It has to be true. It has to be also concrete. It cannot be those meaningful, meaningless words, okay? It should be emotional, okay? Even in business to business, only the high emotionally charged content and campaigns gets shared, get the attention. If there is no emotion, there is no attention. And of course, they should come in the stories. You have to, because then you will get success, okay? And you also have to trust your storytelling, okay? There's a fun assignment now that I want to give you. And of course, you can do it or not. It absolutely, you know, it's up to you, okay? And what I want you to do is basically to write the story behind your startup. How did it all started? How did you come up with this idea? And you can send it to me on my email, if you please. If you don't have to. If you do it, you will get my feedback, okay? And also, remember that those are also the elements that make your marketing good. You have to provide social currency, meaning that you have to provide people value with the information that you give them. If you give them something that they already know, something that they expected, not good. Then it's all about the triggers, okay? You have to find triggers that trigger the attention of people on your product, okay? So if it's a black toilet paper, great, people will talk about it because it was triggered by the black toilet paper, okay? Emotional, again, and also public, okay? People cannot be ashamed of using your product or service. They have to be, you know, proud about it. You know, I'm not a vain person, but every now and then it feels nice when people ask me, oh, is that the new iPhone X? Because they notice it. And that's what public means, okay? People want to know what you're using, and people want to share what they are using if it's public and they are not ashamed of it, okay? It also should have practical value, and it should come in the form of the stories, okay? And, you know, remember always to measure not only the basic Google Analytics, but also measure your content online, be it on Facebook, be it on Instagram, being on LinkedIn, means you have to measure it. And remember, if it doesn't work, it won't work. So get over it and start doing another thing when it comes to marketing, okay? Don't try to pump more money into some things that just don't catch on. If your story doesn't go viral, it will not. You have to find out why it didn't go viral and go to another story. Don't try to pump more cash into it. Thank you for this. Now I believe we have like 7 minutes for questions, so I'm going to quickly switch into the chat mode and I will see. Okay. Oh yeah, yearly. Yeah, it's yearly is like Yanny. Okay, I can see that some of you guys heard something. Okay, good. Any questions for that? I mean, not for Lauren and Yanny, of course, but any questions about the content of the webinar that I just shared with you guys? Yeah. Anyone? Group chat. That's our group chat. Okay. Anyone else heard Laurel or everyone heard Yali? Okay. Anyone is willing to send me their startup story? Oh, what about, there's yeah, Matteo, thank you. What about marketing to technical people? It's still technical people, but it's people. And you say hydropower, that's very good to say, okay? What is unexpected? What is unusual about your approach? They also will be intrigued by something that they unexpected. Don't tell them something that they know. Tell them something that they don't know, and tell them that, something that will surprise them, okay? It can come also in the name of research marketing. You can do some experiments with your beta tester that are technical people. Surprise them. And remember, it's not the word technical is, of course, a nice word to describe someone, but technical is not that important. People is important. People are people. They want to be surprised. They want to look good. They also want to know how the product helps them in their daily activities. Does it make them better, or is it helping them, or anything else? Okay. By the way, Matteo, where'd you come from? Italy also. Perfect. I love Italy. I've been there to Rome twice. I've been to Sicily, and I've been to the north of Italy. But I don't know where you guys come from, Daniela and Matteo. Okay, but still hoping to return them there to do some workshops also in Italy. Okay. Anyone else got some questions for me? Jose, story is always a good thing. Remember that even for technical people, story is data and facts with soul, okay? There was a famous social experiment where two scientists bought a lot of objects on eBay and flea market, and they bought it for approximately $250. So one item was only $1.25, and then they sold it for almost $8,000. So they got like 2,700% margin on some of the objects. How? By adding a story to the object. So if your services are technical, yes, there are facts and data, but you should put into a story. The best story would be how it helped someone else, or how did you come up with this idea? What is so unusual about it? What is the unusual about your approach? How are you different from the others? And put it into a story, okay? Nothing beats the story. And this is how our brain works, okay? Okay. So, guys, it's been absolutely a pleasure of being able to share the things that I want to share with you guys. I hope that there are some of you who have seen all the webinars that I did. For me, it has been a great time with you. And okay, Jose, waiting for your story. And I would like to personally thank you and all of those who made it possible. So, so I think that this is really very important. Keep on doing your job. You've got my email. I will type it in again once so that you all got it again. You can send me your stories. You can ask me for some literature or useful links, or maybe some other things. I'm just basically right now working on my third book. It's going to be on the viral content. It's going to be in English, in Polish for now, but another book that is called Life's a Pitch and Then You Die is going to be released pretty soon in English. So I hope you can lay your hands on it. So that's it for me for now. Thank you so much. It's been really a pleasure. And I really do hope that sometimes we meet in person somewhere in Italy, Spain, and everywhere else, okay? So thank you so much. Bye. And Portugal, of course. And Portugal. Oh yeah, I want to go to Portugal. I would love to come to Marseille, but not now, I think. Well, anyways, good luck to you all, and see you, and let's be in touch. You've got my email, okay? Thank you. Bye.